I found this really cool toast library that I really want to show everyone here. This library's name is Sauna. All the credits to this person, Emil Kowalski. I don't know if I pronounced his name right. I found him on Twitter. Apparently, he's a design engineer at Vercel. And he's designed this, he or she, they. And they have designed this amazing React Toast library, which I'm using in my Next.js project. I'm using it right now as a client component since Next.js 13 allows only server components, and I could not find a way to show toasts in a server component, which is pretty difficult. I don't know if there are solutions out there for this, but I haven't found any yet. So I had to make a separate client component to manage the toasts. This is the button desk, which is handling everything. This is the button desk from right here. This entire thing is a client component. When I click this, a toast gets... I won't go into detail in all of its toasts because the documentation itself is pretty self-sufficient. For example, if you go to sauna.mlkoval.ski, you will find that they have put here precise instructions as to how to use their library, which is beautiful. It is so simple and yet so elegant. If you click on default, you'll get the default toast, descriptions, how to do all of these actions, promises, types. Everything works out perfectly well. Where do you want your toasts to be? Do you want your toasts to expand or not? For example, do you want to use rich colors? Do you want to use the close button? Everything is pretty detailed over here. But what I would like to get your attention to, where I would like to direct your attention is the promise toast, which I think is unique. I haven't seen it in any other toast library. The promise toast, it shows the loading state and then shows an error toast or success toast based on whether it throws a success or an error. So for example, in this promise button, I've created a promise which gets mock data from jsonplaceholder.com. This is the function if you are curious about it. It gets the data from there. It awaits the data. It sets the data in the local state since we are using client components, and it returns the data. If it returns the data, we can get that data right here in the success part of the toast. First of all, we would have to give our entire async function or promise, which will be returned from this async function, to the toast.promise. The toast.promise calls this function and then gets its loading state, its success status, and its error status. If it was a success, then the data returned from the function is then we have access to the data returned from the function itself, and we can use it in our toast messages. For example, right here. And if there's an error, we can simply show an error. Let's try out the error status. Let's misspell the users and let's see what happens. Alright, I had to fix a function a little bit to get this to work again, but I've got this to work again. If we go to the promise toast and we misspell something in our get mock function, for example, sirs, and that endpoint doesn't exist, and we ask the promise toast to get that request, it shows us an error with the error message right here. And if we fix this back, save it, go back, and test the promise toast, it works perfectly. That's all I wanted to show you. I think you'll be able to figure out the rest yourself. If you're watching this video, I bet you will. Alright, I believe in you.